So, Delyn, I've been thinking.
Yes.
I want to buy a house.
Excellent. Great idea.
Yes.
Great time.
Yes, it is a good time.
Yeah.
But I have a couple challenges I need to run by you.
Hit me.
I had a short sale.
Not a problem.
Really?
Yep.
I had a foreclosure.
Not necessarily a problem.
Really?
Really?
All right. I had a bankruptcy. I've been meaning to tell you.
Not necessarily a problem.
Really?
Yep.
I got one more little thing.
Yep.
I got a few little credit challenges.
Okay, that's not necessarily a problem.
Yes. Oh. I quit my job. I'm running for office. Is that a problem?
Now we got a problem. Let me get back with you on that.
Hello, everybody. My name is Barry Horvath, and this is Moving Forward TV, your local market update.
And I am Delyn Gaston. Thanks for joining us today. On today's show, we are talking about some challenges.
Some challenges. We're going to talk about me buying a house with all those issues we discussed. They weren't really issues, were they? They were just a little bit of a challenge.
A little bit of a challenge. I don't like the word issues anymore. I'm using the word challenges.
Yeah, so not only are we going to discuss those specific things that may have occurred, because a lot of people went through some hard times back in 08, 09,
Right.
even 2010. Some people were able to hold on to 2011, and they
You
lost
know-
their homes, and the market collapsed, and now they want to get back into the housing market, and
Right.
they have credit challenges, and we're going to talk about credit later in the show. Very important, and we're going to talk about what are timelines now
challenges.
to let you buy a house again, because a lot of people are getting back in the market.
Well, I think, like you said, a lot of people had some challenges, as I like to say,
You love that
when
word.
the market fell apart, and it hit a lot of people. Basically, bad things happen to good people.
Right.
And
I don't have a pillow.
A lot of
Excuse me.
people had some serious issues and lost
Sorry,
jobs
you
and
said
lost
the word
homes.
hit, and I looked for the pillow.
And what we wanted to try and do is let them know that some people think that they can't buy a house again. They have to wait 7 years, and nothing can be further from the truth these days. You don't have to wait 7 years. That's the old-fashioned way of doing things. In some cases, he's getting a pillow over there. You feel better?
I do. I'm like,
But in some cases, it's a lot less than 7 years. So, I don't want people to be sitting out there on the sidelines thinking, I can't buy a house. I had these credit issues. We're going to help you get past that. A lot of this has been coming up lately because the market is getting hot again, and there are a lot of people coming back into the market. But I think a lot more people can buy and don't realize it.
and they are calling us. 'Cause
All the time.
They are. They call the Lynn all the time. No, it is a great time to be back in the market. And it is, you know what, if you haven't looked lately and you had those credit challenges, you might want to take a look again. Because there are options out there that are unbelievable, actually. And
Right.
most people don't even know that they have those options. So check with your lender. So we're going to go through some of the guidelines right now of what's really the truth. Because remember, there are different institutions that are buying loans today, and every individual bank can, even though we're going to tell you what the real guidelines are, every individual bank can have their own overlay
Right.
sitting on top of that. So sometimes you need to just check around and find a competent lender that's going to steer you in the right direction. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did I say that
correct.
right?
You did.
rock, don't I?
That was really good. You rock.
I
You
rock.
do. We have this nifty little chart that I would be happy to share with you. So by all means, feel free to reach out to me, and I will be. I send it to a lot of
Reach.
my realtor partners, so that they know.
Reach out and touch someone.
Reach out and touch someone.
We were just having that discussion, weren't we?
Yes.
That was the old AT&T, wasn't
Yep.
it?
Yep.
That's so funny.
I think they still use that.
Do they really?
But anyway, so let's talk about some
Is
of
that
the
not
waiting
important
periods.
now?
No, I want to talk about waiting periods.
All right, all right.
So how long do we have to wait? Of course, my nifty-difty little chart. I need my glasses because it's got tiny print. All right, so after a foreclosure, let's just start with foreclosure.
Yeah.
And my nifty-difty little
remember-
chart.
Remember, it's different for every institution, and we'll go over each one individually.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. My nifty chart has, regardless, it has Fannie Mae, so whatever product you're going for, whether it's a Fannie Mae product, a Freddie Mac product, FHA, VA, and USDA. Pretty much those are the standard products out there that every lending institution offers.
And understand there are some smaller banks that do what we call portfolio
Right.
niches. So, and they may, which means they don't sell the loan on the open market, but rather they hold on to it because they think you have a lot of money in the bank, so they want to keep you as a customer. But those are getting fewer and far between, I might
know.
say. Anyway,
All right.
you know what? It's a beautiful day in the park today. You look good in the park today. I like it.
Oh, thank you. I know. I'm surprised we don't have some Pokemon hunters out there.
We do.
I'm sure they are.
They're
I think
out
they're
there.
over on the other
So
side.
let's talk about Fannie first.
Yes.
All right, and foreclosure. So foreclosure is basically your house was foreclosed on. The courts ordered it to be foreclosed. They took your house. The courts forced you to move out, and you were foreclosed on for whatever reason. More
Yep.
than likely, you didn't pay your mortgage.
For Fannie Mae, you have to wait 7 years. Fannie Mae, which is also known as conventional financing, is a 7-year waiting period.
And it's so funny now, if you go to Freddie Mac, it can be as little as 4 years for that same exact foreclosure.
Right.
So,
And that's why we say talk to your lenders, because there is a difference between Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. A little bit of a difference
yeah.
anyway.
And it
Not-
may require even maybe instead of putting only 5% or 3%
Right.
down, they may require you to put, say, 10% down. So,
Right.
so keep that in mind. What about FHA, Delynn?
FHA is only 3 years after your bankruptcy, or I mean after your foreclosure. I'm
Now,
sorry.
All right, and
Jumping
can
ahead.
I want to make a clarification
Yes.
on that, because FHA rules actually, they don't even, just so you know, FHA doesn't have any real rule. I mean, they have lots of rules.
They do.
But pretty much your standard you're going to find out there is 3 years, because they don't actually say specifically that you have to wait 3 years. But
Right.
pretty much every lender is a stickler about that 3-year rule that we've seen out there. So
And if you had a previous FHA loan, it does not mean that you cannot get another FHA loan. You absolutely can, but again, the previous claim, because the FHA is an insurance, remember, it's not a direct lender, it's an insurance. The FHA claim has to be paid 3 years earlier.
you're so smart.
Right.
What about VA? Is VA any easier?
VA is easier, Barry.
Maybe I should go VA.
2 years, but you have to be a veteran. As long as you are a
darn it.
veteran and you had a foreclosure or something, again, it does not have, even if it was a previous VA loan, you are reinstated afterward, but you have to
And what about
wait 2 years.
the other?
And the final one, USDA?
USDA, one of the most underused products.
I know, and such a great product, and that is a 3-year waiting period. So after 3 years, you can get a USDA loan. The nice thing about USDA, there is no down payment. So you can get 100% financing, even if you had a foreclosure about a little more than 3 years ago.
Yeah, and if, for those who aren't familiar with USDA, that is a rural farm loan. And if you go on USDA.gov, you can look up to see if whatever home you're looking at to purchase fits or is in that map. And it's very specific, but there's some areas that, you know, like here in Pasco County, we have the 54 corridor, which is probably one of the most congested areas in the county right now, but it's still considered a rural farm because it's an old mapping system. So stay tuned for that. But right now, we're going to talk about more of these guidelines and what we're going to be looking for in your credit to help you. But first, we're going to take a little break with Casey and see what she's cooking up. But rumor has it she has some spicy chicken soup, but I don't know. That's just what I hear. So,
Spicy anything.
yeah, but
for
stay
me.
tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to Chat and Dish. I'm Casey Quinetti. It's wintertime, and that means cold and flu season. And there's nothing better when you're feeling under the weather than chicken noodle soup. So today, I'm going to show you how to make my all-time favorite hot and spicy chicken noodle soup. Okay, I've got all the ingredients here that we need. Let's go over them real quickly. We're going to need 1 onion finely minced, 2 yellow zucchini, 1 green zucchini, 2 cups of water, 8 ounces of pasta, 4 cups of chicken stock, 8 ounces of ground chicken meat, 1/4 cup of panko or breadcrumbs, 1 red pepper that's been finely minced. And for a paste that we're going to start our soup with, we're going to use 4 cloves of garlic, about 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper. Use less if your family doesn't like it hot. We're going to need 3 to 4 tablespoons of lemongrass, a tablespoon of fresh ginger, and a tablespoon of tomato paste. A little olive oil and salt and pepper for seasoning, and that's it. Let's get started. All right, we need to peel our ginger, and the best way to do that is just to take the back of a spoon and scrape down. Takes the skin right off. Just give your ginger a quick chop and add it to your mortar and pestle. Now add your garlic and start smashing. When your garlic's starting to break down, add your red pepper. When you've got a nice thick paste formed, add 3 tablespoons of lemongrass. Work this all together well. Now add a tablespoon of tomato paste. We've got our lovely ginger garlic paste ready to go. Now just heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a nice stock pot. Add your ginger garlic paste. Stir this around so that it's warmed all the way through. This releases all the flavors of the ginger and the garlic even more. Paste is nice and warm. Now it's time to add the onions, the red peppers, and both zucchinis. Give this all a good stir, and then you're going to turn your heat to low and let everything sweat down together for about 10 minutes. While the veggies are sweating down, let's make our little chicken meatballs. Start off with about 1 teaspoon of salt into your 8 ounces of ground chicken and about 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. I've got about 1/4 cup of panko. You can use panko or regular breadcrumbs. And then all you have to do is mix this lightly together. Ground chicken has a tendency to be very moist. That's why I'm using panko in here. The panko helps hold the chicken together when we make our little meatballs. Ground chicken is a bit sticky, so what I do is I dip my spoon in water and then I go ahead and get one little serving. You want your meatballs for this chicken to be really small. I want you to warm your chicken stock and your water in the microwave. They don't have to be boiling, they just have to be hot. You never want to add a cold stock or cold water to your soups because if you do, your veggies are going to kind of scrunch up and stop giving out all their flavors. All right, let's pop our little chicken meatballs into the fridge. Keep them cold. All right, it's time to add the hot chicken stock and the water. Turn your heat up to medium-high, cover, and bring it up to a boil. When the soup comes to a boil, add your pasta, leave the lid off, and set your timer for 5 minutes. Our 5-minute timer just went off. That means our pasta has 10 minutes left, same as the meatballs. Let's get them into the soup. Just gently drop your meatballs into your soup. Oh, I cannot wait to dish up and have a nice big bowl of this hot and spicy chicken noodle soup. Ooh, yay. Oh, it's fantastic. The combination of the garlic and the ginger and the lemongrass, it warms you from your nose all the way down to your toes. Okay, I took a little time out of the kitchen and searched the blogging world for some more great soup recipes, and I've got 2 that are spectacular. First up, Tidy Mom for bacon potato soup. Hey, it's a perfect way to warm your family, fill them up, and not spend a lot of money out of your food budget. So pop on over to Tidy Mom for bacon potato soup. Next, let's pop over to Simple Bites for butternut squash and apple soup. Ooh, how fabulous! Apples, butternut squash, and just a hint of, get this, maple syrup. Don't miss out. Pop on over to Simple Bites, butternut squash and apple soup. As always, thank you for visiting. Until next time, I'm going to miss you. And here is to a big pot of soup boiling on the top of your stove. Cheers.
So what do you think of that spicy chicken?
Spicy anything, man.
You like-
I'm all about spicy.
You're a spicy girl?
Oh, yes.
Spicy.
Spicy.
Really? I didn't
I
know that.
love it hot.
Do you really? Oh, I'm not even going there. Okay, now on with the show.
Back to short sales.
Oh, I'd rather talk about spicy.
All right. So
Sorry.
while he hacks up a lung over there.
Let me chase it with some coffee here.
All right, so the foreclosures. The other question that we get a lot is short sales, because there were a lot of short sales in the last several years.
Yep.
Most of those are gone these days. There's not very many of them left. Although, I don't know, I know some realtors who would beg to differ with me, and some title companies
there
still
seems
working
to be
on
plenty.
it.
So let's just go down the list.
But it is a little bit different. Very similar, but a little bit different.
Really?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
From our foreclosures. A little bit different. I'm surprised it
you
has
mean the
such a similarity.
guidelines? Because I'm
Yes.
thinking like a foreclosure and a
No,
short
the
sale are totally
guideline,
different.
the waiting period.
Oh, you weren't very
All right,
clear
so-
on that, Delyn. I'm still on spicy.
Fannie and Freddie, I'm just going to roll that. Fannie and Freddie are both 4 years. So conventional financing, they want you to wait 4 years from the time you've had your short
So they're
sale.
both the same. What about FHA? How long you got to wait on FHA?
FHA is the same, 3 years.
3 years.
VA
And
is the same,
Yeah, but
2
really?
years.
Okay.
USDA is the same, 3 years. So
So-
the only difference is conventional financing. Fannie and Freddie, 7 years on a foreclosure, only 4 years on a short sale.
Okay, all
Everything
right.
else is the same.
All right, now let's talk about the dreaded bankruptcy.
That's the other thing, another misconception.
And just for the record, I've never had one. That was part of our teaser. Here's my disclaimer.
Yeah, I know you probably should, running for office, right? Nor have you ever had a foreclosure, nor have you
No.
ever had a short sale,
No.
nor have you
No.
ever had any credit issues.
No.
But anyway,
But it was funny in the beginning of the show.
Yes.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it's not so funny.
all right, so on to bankruptcy. Another misconception. A lot of people think that after a bankruptcy, oh my gosh, my credit is ruined forever, or at the very least 7 years
Right.
before anything changes. Not so.
Remember, there's different types of bankruptcy out there, but the two
Yes.
we're going to be discussing are Chapter 7 and Chapter 13.
And those are the standard bankruptcy
Standard.
the standard for consumers.
Yes.
Chapter 11 is another one, but that's for businesses. So for consumers, you typically will only have a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13. The difference between those two, real quick, the Chapter 7 is the one that absolves everything. Everything is pretty much gone, wiped out, clean. The Chapter 13 is the one where they reorganize it through the courts, and you'll make a payment to the court over a 3 to 5 year period typically.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Now, but let me
I think
put
I've
our
done this before.
Yeah, let's put the disclaimer in there, though, that a Chapter 7 on a home mortgage, even though it may wipe out the obligation to repay, the time frame, because the house is still deeded in your name.
Right.
If you do not short sale it, you must get it out of your name.
And there's some disclaimers about that we're going to be talking
Yeah.
about as soon as we go through this.
So let's talk about time
At the bottom of
horizons
my
for
nifty-gifty
Chapter
chart.
7. So
Okay.
first, what's Fannie Mae waiting period for Chapter 7?
4 years.
What's Freddie?
4 years.
What's FHA?
2 years.
And what's VA?
2 years.
And what's USDA?
3 years.
How did you memorize all that?
I didn't. That's why I have this nifty-difty chart that's hanging up at my desk.
Oh my gosh, you're
For
brilliant.
when one of my realtor
right.
partners call me and says, I have somebody who had a bankruptcy 2 years ago. Can
All
we
right.
do it?
All right, let's see
Yes.
if you're this smart on Chapter 13, if you can read as
Yeah,
well.
as long as I can read them. Keeping my glasses on.
All right, so what's Fannie?
Fannie Mae is 2 years from the discharge date or 4 years from a dismissal date, because
And remember-
remember, they can dismiss it.
Right, so remember, this is
Means it
Chapter
didn't
13,
complete.
which means you're reorganizing and paying the courts back.
Right.
On a payment arrangement. What about Freddie
2 years.
and FHA?
And this is from the discharge dates, all of these from the discharge dates. FHA is 1 year you had to have made payments to the courts for at least 1 year.
And you have to prove that payment
And
history?
you have to prove, and the court has to give you permission to buy a house.
Okay.
That one's definitely a little bit stickier, and that's what the next three with
Is
our
that a
government type loans, our FHA, VA, and our USDA.
Is that
Those are government loans.
Is that an official word? Stickier?
Stickier.
Is that in the guidelines? These guidelines are stickier.
They're a little stickier.
What about VA and USDA delay?
Same thing. You have to have permission from the court, and you have to have 1 year payment history.
Okay.
So definitely talk to somebody. Now, the little
The fine print?
the fine print at the
The
bottom of
disclaimer.
my nifty-difty chart, there's a couple of little things that I wanted to point out. As Barry said, a lot of times when people have a bankruptcy, they take their house, if they're absolving from the house as well, and they put the house into the bankruptcy. On a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you actually are allowed to save your house. You keep on making your house payments, and that's a way of holding onto your house. If you want to walk away from your house as well, if it's upside down or whatever, and it gets absolved in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, then the big question becomes, as Barry said, the deed is still in your name. So we might absolve the debt, but your name is still tied to that property. And sometimes it takes a while for the lenders and the foreclosure to actually go through the court system to get the deed out of your name. Now, with
Wait, there's more.
Fannie Mae actually goes by the date that it was the bankruptcy date and not the foreclosure date, which is a really good thing. So if you are in that catch-22, and there's a lot of people right in there, then a Fannie Mae loan would be a good
That's
loan
not
for
a
you to take a
sticky
look
point?
at.
It's a
Yeah,
catch-22.
it's
Is
a
that different? It's
catch-22.
entirely different. All right, so let's...
And also,
Oh, wait,
USDA.
there's more.
Wait, there's more. You get knives, Ginsu knives.
Golly.
USDA.
Don't forget, folks, order before midnight tomorrow.
USDA.
How much is shipping and handling?
USDA is the same
Come
thing.
on. I want
Keep
the
in
price
mind,
out
with
the door.
USDA, as long as you're buying in a USDA territory, no down payment, and the same thing, it follows the bankruptcy guidelines if the home was absolved in the bankruptcy.
That's a lot of information.
That's huge.
All right,
and
now-
that's a lot of people, I think, who fall in that, who can now buy a house and they think they can't.
I agree, but you know what? We also got to talk about the other thing I mentioned was credit.
I know.
And we have, people have credit challenges.
other nifty-difty
After
chart.
they went through all of this, there's undoubtedly going to be some challenges on their credit.
Right.
So we're going to give you a few tips and facts about their credit. But right now we need to take a little break and talk to Devin and see what kind of tip McWilliams has to offer this week. So here's Devin.
Hello, my name is Devin with McWilliams & Son Air Conditioning. And today what I want to talk about to you today is the phasing out of R22. I'm sure you've heard about it, maybe your friends are talking about it, or you've heard about it on the news. It is due to be gone by the year 2020. You should no longer be able to buy the equipment, and obtaining the refrigerant as well as the parts to fix your equipment may be difficult. And I want to let you know before you end up in that scenario 5 years from now. We're beginning to see a lot less of it, and the prices are getting a lot higher on the equipment as well as the parts and refrigerant. Now, what does that mean to you? If we get into the year 2021, you may not be able to obtain this refrigerant, or the price to even recharge your system may not be in your benefit. You may still be able to find dry units, and you can still purchase them now, but it is not recommended, and it does not meet the efficiency standards or the AHRI standards. It does not work well for your equipment. You also do not get your full warranties. Right now, if you're purchasing new equipment, you should be getting 410 equipment. That is the current refrigerant that's out, and that is what will give you the most lifespan on your equipment, as well as the most for your warranties. We sell an array of brands. We service all equipment. But as R22 continues to get phased out, we begin to pick up less and less of it. We are now getting to a point where if your coil blows a leak or you are low on refrigerant, you are almost condemned. The price to repair or to regas your system is not becoming in your benefit. It is best to do some research and take a look at what your options are, and give us a call at McWilliams & Son.
Another spectacular tip from Devin.
Devin is such a nice.
Yeah, we
he's
had him
such a
on the
nice
show.
guy, too.
He's
I know.
and he's such a pleasant young man.
He is. He is.
And we've
Good company.
We've
Great company.
seen a lot of the different companies out there this time of year, with it being like 300 degrees out, all the scams going
Welcome
on
to
out
Florida.
there. So find a good, reputable company you like working with. So
Yes.
that's all I can say about that.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
let's talk about credit, though, Delynn, because AC is not a topic for discussion this week.
Not
At
this
least-
week.
No.
This week it's
When are we
credit.
talking about politics?
No, I'm not talking about politics.
Because I'm feeling it. I think our people, our viewers, love politics. I'm just feeling it. That's just me, though. I know.
All right.
You
So
know
as
what's
far as
nothing
credit,
worse to me than they go, who are you voting for president? That's my number one question right now. Not what's your rate. It used to be what's your rate. Now it's who you voting for president.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's
Yeah,
just
it's kind of scary. Yeah, I got the
It's
producer
odd.
going. I know who he's voting for, but
It's just odd. It's just odd. Let's leave it there, okay? I don't want to turn this into a political show. All right, so back to
politics.
credit.
Why? Anyway, let's talk about credit facts. Yeah, that's a good point. So, you know what? We're going to get more into detail next week in credit, but we want to touch on a few things
Right.
that we think are important, because you're out buying a house or a car or insurance or pretty much everything. You're trying to get a job, and your credit score directly affects you in one way or another in some fashion. But
Yes.
we have some stats, and we'll go into details next week. But one of the things that I love on these credit facts is 74% of college students don't know their credit score. So, do we have any college students? Do you know your credit score? He does
we
not
do.
know. So you,
We
my
do. We
friend,
have a
are in the
college
74%
student right here
off.
in the studio.
He raised his hand, so we had to call him.
Yep.
So isn't that so funny that they say that? And you know what? So funny. Credit scores range from 300 to 850.
Right.
Now, the 300s call Delynn, the 850s call me. That's,
And everybody,
Why?
a lot of people think that they need to have an 850. You don't need to have an 850 to get a house.
No, you do not.
certainly
You do not.
don't.
In fact, most guidelines now are 620, some are
Right.
640, and
I was
there
gonna
are
say, of course, with the-
exceptions
with the
on that.
300, you're
But
not
here's
gonna
the
get a
thing.
house, but-
The national credit average is 691.
That kind of surprised me too. I thought it would be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But it kind of surprised me. 691 is the average.
And I love this. The average consumer currently has 9 open credit cards.
That sounds about
reporting on their
right.
credit.
That sounds about right.
So, when I opened my wallet, you saw today.
I know. He pulls out this wad of cards. No
Like, pick a
cash,
card, pick a-
but a wad of cards.
And sometimes at the register, I play 52 pickup.
I can believe that.
No,
The one
like-
that I thought was pretty interesting was the average consumer's oldest open trade line was 18 years old. It is very important if you have a trade line, keep them open. Don't close out your trade lines, and we'll get into more of that next week.
And how it affects your score. And this is so funny. The average consumer's oldest trade line, we already talked about
I
that,
did
being
that.
18 years old, but 33% of Americans don't even or never knew their credit score. 33%.
That one was very
Isn't that
surprising to
crazy?
me.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Does that tell us that our I think the older people, the older generation doesn't know too much about it.
Right. They
Credit
just know
scoring.
they have
so,
credit.
Yeah, they just know that they have credit, and
Right.
they really don't.
But if you asked them if
don't.
they were voting for Hillary or Trump, they would know right
You
away,
are
wouldn't they?
bound and determined to turn this into a political show, aren't you?
Yes!
No.
Sorry, but you know what? There's actually 5 different factors, and we're going to go into details next week. So you definitely want to tune in next week.
But just to touch on them.
Determine your score. So your amounts owed, and we will tell you percentages and all how it works. Length of history, new credit, types of credit, and your payment history all play into your score to get you that 691 average that we talked about nationally. So.
So next week's going to be a great show.
It is, yeah. So let's talk about upcoming events and,
Yes,
and
what do
things
we
going
have?
on
What
in
do we
consumer-
have? Barry, do you have any upcoming events?
Oh yeah, I do. I got a few. Hey, let's talk about a lot of things on the calendar. So
Okay.
I'm going to try and go through my memory best I can. So bear with me. August 3rd.
You need to take your phone
No,
out.
I got this. August 3rd. I have for those of you who don't know, I'm running for county commissioner. District 3, and I'm going all the way to November. I am qualified fully for the general election.
Yay.
So November 8th, remember me. But there's my disclosure. This political. Do I have to say a disclaimer? No.
Do you have to say you approve this message?
I didn't approve it. You approve it. It's not really a message. I'm not soliciting anything. But anyway, that's not important. August 3rd is the meet and greet
Right.
at Grill 54. So come on down. It's going to be a great time. And we also have, a lot of
I
the things
know.
will be passed by the time the show
I know,
ends. So
I know.
now
I was just going to say next Tuesday, but of course the show is going to be
And
airing
then
next
August
Tuesday.
6th, we have the amazing race photo chase. And rumor has it, you might be chasing Pokemon. I'm just saying, the #1 downloaded app right now in the world might be part of that. So it's going to be
Pokemon.
fun. That's supporting West Pasco Business Association, WPBA. Go online to wpba.biz for more information. For information on the meet and greets, go to barryforpasco.com. It's a great place to go. And
then I know it's going out a little bit, but we do have coming up that I wanted to just start mentioning. In October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we have a signature event that the West Pasco Business Association has done. This will be our 3rd year or 4th year.
this is actually the 3rd year.
remember, it's
so
our third
always going
year.
to be a sellout. September 27th is the date. It's a Tuesday night at Leisure Lanes in Trinity, Newport Richie.
And it's called Bowling for Boobs.
Yeah, and so
so it's
go-
a great event, and it sells out fast. So I'm putting the word out right now.
Go on
to-
WPBA.biz to keep up with this, and all of these are on social media, Facebook, for all of their events. And of course, we got other things like December 3rd, River Lights Boat Parade that we're partnering with Main Street. I'm so excited about that event. And the Grinch is December 9th, so put those on your calendar now. But anyway,
Those are
but
biggies.
great information today. Actually, a little overwhelming for people trying to get back in the market.
I know,
And
I
next week,
just-
we'll talk more about the credit side, so you don't want to miss it.
And how and what affects your credit score, and the little tiny tips that you can do to boost your credit score.
Yeah, because Delina's the smartest girl I know in this studio right now. So you definitely don't want to miss that.
Scared.
Yeah, be afraid.
Thanks everyone for watching. Please get the show out, like us, share us,
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn,
all that fun stuff.
Tumblr,
Whatever.
Instagram, whatever.
We appreciate you watching. We are today and every day.
Moving forward, and you know what? Bye.
We'll see everybody next week. Bye-bye.